Oh, jolly good. It's like we're alive. Hopefully wait for a few people to join. Oh. So we've got a couple of people in here, which is jolly good, jolly good. Hello. 3 people, okay, we're getting great 4, okay, this is good. Hopefully wait for a few more people to come in before we crack on with this. 5 now, I've gone out from 6. Right, hope to get some questions and comments along the way. Yeah, after the results though, I don't see how many people can be that average after the result. As I said, you can't be too happy with that really at the moment. It's not looking good. It's just a shame. We looked like we was real nailed on for a draw. The game itself had a draw written all over it. It was nailed on point, and then obviously we made a silly mistake right at the end. Simple cross into the box for both goals really, and then were simple finishes for Ali, and then Harry Winks came in right at the end, didn't he? And then it's just, I don't know where we go from here. I mean, there's a few questions that were asked prior to going on live and that, so Dennis Adoy was one of the people. Was one of the questions asked. I'll get through a load, and Dennis Adoy was one of the questions that came up. Why are we still going to use him? But the thing is, though, I think at the moment we haven't got anybody who can really actually bring in who we can drop him with. Like, you've got the options at the back. Obviously, with Alfie Mawson injured, we are relatively still quite thin on the ground there, and I don't see who else we could possibly bring in if we were going to drop Dennis Adoy. I don't think it's going to work. I can see some comments we did right back in the January transfer window. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think Cyrus Christie wasn't his best game to say. He didn't cover himself in too much glory. He was arguably at fault for the equalising goal as well as the cross for the winning goal as well. It's just too many defensive frailties this season, been a big problem as well, and I'm not too sure where we go from him. I mean, yeah, I know Joe Bryan was bad today as well. I think that's the thing when you're using a back 5 or back 4, whatever we use today, consisting of players who are championship defenders, you do look like, you know, we're always going to struggle. And if we go down to fight for promotion, I'm not too sure. It's whether or not it depends who we get in, because I know Claudio Ranieri for a fact won't stay with us. He'll leave. As much as I'm a big admirer of him, I don't think he'd be suited to the Championship. We'd have to look elsewhere for manager, hoping potentially someone who knows the league well. And it'll be a difficult process. Obviously, we were tipped 4 years ago to come back up. We didn't come back up. It took us 4 years. I agree with the positive. Ryan Babel actually was the only positive today. I do agree with that. I felt like he looked sharp in the first half, and it's just typical us. We have so many chances in that first half. Babel himself could have had 2 or 3 goals. The 1-on-1 with Lloris, which was saved. A couple of other half chances as well. And I think the problem with him coming off too early, I think he's not really match fit at the moment to really last a full 90. He's not had a lot of game time prior to this, I don't think, from what I know. And it was the right choice to take him off. However, that did cost us the game, I think. When you're taking him off, Ryan Sessegnon came on and he was ineffective today, which is a shame, because usually when he comes off the bench, he's been quite effective, especially in recent weeks against Wolves and Huddersfield, where he's been really, really solid off the bench and really gives that extra dimension off the bench. He didn't do that today, really, and he seemed quite lethargic and quite flat. I am aware of Jansen's Instagram story of him flying out somewhere. I'm not too sure where he's going. I think it could be a family holiday, or he could be leaving, but from what I'm aware of, it looks. I'm not hurt. From what I'm aware of, I don't know if he's leaving or not. There hasn't been any rumours going around whether he could leave. Obviously, the Mitrovic penalty appeal, I was watching it at home today, obviously didn't go. It wasn't a penalty. Lloris got a touch on the ball, very faint touch on the ball, but it wasn't a penalty. You do see sometimes them give them, but the referee got it spot on. Another question was, how do I see us getting on with Brighton in a couple of weeks? I don't know. Brighton are one of them teams who, again, are a bogey team of ours at home. We just can't beat them at home. In the past, we've struggled against them. We lost against them in 15-16. We lost against them when they went up the following season. They did the double over us. And to be fair, we played them off the park in both games that season, and they beat us relatively quite easily. Dennis Adoy, I know he's got under a lot of scrutiny for the first goal. I know ducking under the ball, I did agree with that. He seemed to, when the cross came in, he seemed to duck and put his hands up really for that. But it looks like we're about Mitrovic or Brighton. I don't think is that really true. I thought the 5 bookings thing, I thought we'd actually managed to avoid that. So if that's the case, and Seri as well, I thought Seri was quite poor today really. I didn't think he did a lot. He hasn't justified his price tag, but I'm not going to slate him too much today. I didn't think we did a lot wrong in that first half. I thought we played really, really well in the first half. We took the game to Spurs. We came out. We showed some good fighting spirit, and you know, it's just that typical us. We're on top in large parts of the game, and we seem to struggle, and then we don't take our chances, and then it's straight away 5 minutes back into the second half, that soft goal. Yeah, I do agree. I'm pretty sure it was reset after Huddersfield yellow card thing. Are we going to start up this season? No, I think we all go down. I think today's defeat proves that. Who of the squad do you reckon would stay with us if we go down? I'm not too sure really. It all depends. I think there's going to be the next 2 weeks will really determine who stays and who goes. Really, as we all know, looks like Johansen could be on his way out. McDonald could be on his way out on loan as well. So that is interesting to see how we get on there. I honestly don't know. I think there'll be a number of players who will stay because this season they've not covered themselves in too much glory. I agree that Huddersfield are down as well. I'd like to think it depends really. You know. I just don't know with us. We're so inconsistent. You don't know what type of Fulham we're going to get each week. I do believe that would be between Cardiff, Newcastle and Burnley, I think, for that third spot. I think Southampton will be okay. I think they're pulling away now. Back-to-back wins against Leicester and Everton as well. Two tough teams who they probably would have struggled against early on in the season. Will we become a bounce team? I'm not too sure, really. I think it's a difficult one, really. I think I think that's the correct term, probably a yo-yo team there, really. I think we might look probably like a team like Norwich, really, who do flirt about with the divisions. You know, one couple of years ago, there was in the Premier League, and they do tend to flirt with the Championship and divisions, really. To be fair, I understand Newcastle fans are relevant if we start or not, and I understand the frustrations going around at the club there. I think Rafa Benitez will probably go, I think, end of the season if they were to go down. I think he'd, I don't know, but I think Benitez has done a good job there. But I can understand the frustrations at Newcastle at the moment. It's not been good. Big win yesterday as well against Cardiff as well. Looked like played some good stuff as well. Fabian Schär or Schär, however you pronounce that, took both his goals quite nicely. The first goal was a good goal, and the second one was a little bit of luck, bounced off him and went in. But you need that luck when you're down there, and Newcastle seem to be getting that at the moment. We don't really seem to get the rub of the green, and it's just been the story of our season really. And I'm not too sure really where we go from here. It's going to be very, very difficult to see what happens. The next 2 weeks, obviously, for the January window will be eye-opening. I don't think we're going to get a lot of activity. We're not going to sign many players. I think we're crying out for a striker. I do agree. I think we do need an extra body up front. We are light on the ground there. Without Mitrovic, I think we do lack. Would you want Ranieri out if we lose to Brighton and Palace? Well, to be honest, I could see him resigning, if I'm being brutally honest. I'm not too sure. I don't think he'll get sacked because I think at this stage of the season, if we're destined to go down, I think if you sack him, then where do you go from there? I think it's pointless sacking him. Really, at that stage, I think he's got to keep him on. If he wants to stay, then yes, but you can see him maybe. I could see him resigning potentially. I think he could, resign. I think that could happen. I think, as I said, there's a lot of stuff. Not a lot of. I'm not too sure. I do agree. I think the thing was we came up this season. We're using a Championship defence, and when you use a Championship back four against these type of teams, you are going to concede goals and you are going to make a load of mistakes. It happens time and time again. I think there was another question I saw before I went live about Joe Bryan today. Again, another mistakes cost us again with him. It happened a similar thing against Wolves where the cross really, especially against Wolves where the equalising goal for the cross as well. It happened again where he switched off, and he switched off again really for the same thing against today where I think Graham Souness on Super Sunday absolutely slaughtered him today. I was watching Super Sunday and Graham Souness, as I said, he absolutely went in on Cyrus Christie and Joe Bryan. But the thing what I saw about Joe Bryan was in particular that goal, they paused it for a second where George, Kevin and Kudu got the ball, and then you can see Harry Winks put his hand up to say, like, cross it into me, and then Joe Bryan's just standing behind him, jogging, completely unaware of the danger. And if you're a full-back there, you've got to be aware of it. If he's putting his hand up the attacker in front of you, saying, I want the ball in there, you get into that position and you cover that little move, because if you don't, and we saw what happened there, it's worrying. If we go down, I think we'll be another Aston Villa. How do you reckon we'll do in the Championship? If Ranieri won't stay, if we went down this season, Ranieri wouldn't stay. I'd be very surprised if he did. If we were to go down, there's a couple of managers who I want on top of my list if we were to go down, but I'll reveal them nearer the time if we were to go down. But there's about 3 or 4 who I'd want prior to us getting relegated. I think in terms of trying to change the fortunes around, I think they'd be good for the club. I think Sessegnon probably would leave. I think if we went down this season, I'm not too sure if he'd stick around. He didn't really seem interested today, which was a bit of a surprise. He has struggled this season. I'll be honest with you, he has struggled this season. I think a lot of teams, when we came up, were aware of how good he is, and they've tended to try and mark him out of games when he's played. I think Claudio Ranieri's not his biggest fan, from what I'm aware of. He hasn't started him in a lot of the games he's taken this season. He's always been used off the bench, and it's been a bit of a calamity season. What manager would you take Fulham if we were to go down? I think if we were to go down, I'd look at Chris Wilder, 110%. I think Sheffield United, I think he's done a fantastic job there, and they could even come up this season. They're doing quite well this season. If they were to come up, then probably we wouldn't get him. But if Sheffield United don't go up, then I'd definitely throw the book at it, trying to get him in. Obviously, David Varga's out of a job, but I'm not too keen on him. I know he's done fantastic well at Huddersfield, but I just don't think coming to Fulham would work for him. I think, but I said, yeah, Chris Wilder for me, definitely. I'm a big fan of how he plays at Sheffield United with the 3 centre-halves, the attacking style of football he plays. It's good football. If I was to go for a bit more of a left-wing option, I'd look Gary. Oh God, no, Gary Rowett, no way. I think his last couple of jobs at Derby and Stoke have proved that he's a bit of a mediocre manager when it comes to playing football. Really, bring back Chris Coleman. Oh no, I don't know. I think he's out in China at the moment with Kit Simons. Both of them are out in China. If we were to bring Chris Coleman back, we'd have to bring back Kit Simons as his number 2, and we know how bad things were under him as well. And you know, I just don't know where we go. I'm caught in limbo really. Rowett, yeah, I do agree with Ollie there. Rowett's an absolute fraud. His last 2 jobs, especially at Stoke, he actually ran out of town there. Really, he's not a great manager. Really, I think his football's quite poor. Would you take he was on Goals on Sunday this morning. I was watching him. Not now, no. I just don't see how. I'm pretty sure though, if he was offered the job, he'd take it, because there's certain things at our club that he'd probably want. Like there's a goal scorer, Mitrovic. But I just don't see Ranieri leaving at the moment. What I know about David Varga, was that Michael Laudrup? I'm taking it's the one who was in charge of Swansea about a couple of years ago. David Varga's a good shout, obviously. I'm aware of that. Sunderland fans loved him. They did, yeah, because he did a good job there, didn't they? Sunderland were all but down before he came in, and he really turned things around there. Signed players like Lamina Kone and people like that. Alan Pardew's floating around there. You don't want him, no way. Alan Pardew's an absolute fraud. He goes into that category of managers who permanently look to try and go on the merry-go-round. I wouldn't want him anywhere near my football club. Similar to manager Fat Sam, again, I wouldn't want him near my football club. I'm not his biggest fan, but I don't hate him. But he's one of them people who had their time really, and I think, you know, he sold himself out, sold his country out really, didn't he, for an extra couple of quid when he was in charge of England. Obviously that newspaper scandal as well. Scott Bartel Karanka's an interesting one as well. I'd be definitely interested in to see if he's available. Scott Parker, I hope they don't give it to him. I think if we're going to give it to Scott Parker, we're making that same mistake of what we did with Kit Simons. Look how things were under him, where we're going to give it to a former player who's played at the club, and then they're going to try and take the management. It didn't work under Kit Simons. It was quite bad under him as well, and I think it would be making that similar mistake if we did that with Scott Parker. Do you think Mitrovic will stay? If we went down, I don't think we would. I could see a lot of big clubs wanting him. I look at teams like Liverpool and Man City, and I think, especially Liverpool, I do think they could do a different option, and I think Mitrovic would really fit the bill there. Obviously, he scored 8 goals this season, I think it is, and he would definitely get a good return on the money we paid for him. But Parker and Stuart Gray, would that work? Stuart Gray, he did okay really. Yeah, Chris Schulte wouldn't leave Brighton though. He's fantastic. He's done fantastic at Brighton. He's really happy there. And to think a couple of months ago, a few Brighton fans wanted him out of there, and to think how far he's taken that club, it is absolutely ridiculous. He wouldn't leave Brighton in a million years. They're nailed on again to finish in mid-table again. He's done what he's had to do there this season, but I can't see them going down. Derek McInnes is an interesting one. Obviously, he was highly touted to go to Rangers a couple of months, around this time last year. He's done a good job in Scotland, but again, the Scottish League to the Championship is a whole different ball game, and I'm not too sure how well we'd do. But obviously, Alex Neil came down from Scotland when he took the Norwich job. He came from Hamilton Academicals and took Norwich up that following season as well. He came in around, I think, the winter time when he took them up. So it shows that it can be done if you've got a bit. Sometimes you don't need to know the league too well. You look at Wolves last year with Nuno. If you've got a bit more tactical awareness about you, then it can work in the Championship as well. So that'll be interesting to see. But it all depends really between now and the end of the season. Really, I think if we were to go down, there'd be a whole host of managers I think who'd want to take the job. I think it's a good pull. I think coming to Fulham, there's a lot of potential there. If they they could look at it as a rebuilding job. I think they can get it right, then it would work. But it's Ranieri hasn't got his work out. Mark Warburton, I'm not too sure about him. He had that stint at Forest last year where he kept them up, obviously, the previous season when he came in, and And he didn't really build upon that. I think a lot of the Forest fans expected him to really kick on into the playoffs last year, and they didn't do that really. And he left midway through the season to be replaced by Karanka, who came in around this time last year actually, because I think we played them Forest under Karanka. I think it was his first or second game in charge when we beat them 2-0 at home. And bring back Mickey Adams. I think he was wonderful for us, weren't he, a long time ago. Steve McLaren's done a good job. Yeah, he's turned it around there, to be fair. A bit of a sticky start. I think the signings of Hammond and Wells helped them definitely move in the right direction alongside Jeff Cameron as well. Do you think we'll win to go back up? I'm not too sure. Cahill won't come yet. The Gary Cahill situation is a strange one because we've been linked with him literally all window. I wouldn't want Nigel Clough, no. Done a good job. He's done an average job at Burton this season. I know he's got him to a cup semi-final. People look at that and think, oh yeah, we'll definitely take him for that. But if you look at some of the results they've had this season in League One, it's not been good enough really. I think they were tipped to come straight back up, and obviously sometimes when you go down, it's a hell of a lot harder than what you think it can be. But I wouldn't want him there. Again, another manager with a bit more of a direct style of play, and I don't think that would really go down too well with many Fulham fans, especially after the style of play we've seen over the past couple of years. I think going back to a more direct long ball approach wouldn't work. I think, and he wouldn't be the right man for us. I'll tell you what, ask yourself this, who'd want to come to us? What is that in terms of a player or management type of thing? If you pick any defender realistically, who would it be? That's a good question. There's a lot of defenders. Well, Gary Cahill was my shout. Lee Johnson's a good shout. I do like him a lot. He's definitely a manager who plays good football. His dad's actually Gary Johnson, who is a Fulham fan himself. His father, who is in charge of Torquay in the National League South at the moment. But yeah, Lee Johnson, whenever we played against Bristol City under him, they've always beaten us at home. I've always been impressed with the way they played. Obviously, Joe Bryan played under him as well, so if he wanted to come, then it would work. Gary Monk would be decent, but I don't see him leaving Birmingham. It would be a good shout, but he's done well at Birmingham this season, and I don't see them leaving. I just think Wolves really, I think they've just set the difference between ourselves and Wolves. I think it's all about adapting to this league, and I think Wolves adapted quite well. They didn't. I think we'll check the whole manager. What, Nigel Atkins? Probably not. No, I'm not a big fan of his. He's done well this season. I give him credit to that. He struggled this season, but then a bit more of an upturn in form recently. They threw away a two-goal lead yesterday at Villa Park, which didn't help, but they're doing all right. I think going back to the Wolves thing though, I think the difference is with Wolves, I think they already had the foundations laid for the promotion season last year. They already kept hold of most of their players, made a few of the loanees permanent, and they didn't really go and look to invest on a whole new squad. They really trusted what they had, and they adapted really well. And I think that's all. As I said before, it's all about adapting. They really kept the core of their squad together coming up, and it helps. And I think that's probably where we were caught out, really. I think we looked to try and buy too many players, and I think it upset the apple cart, whereas Wolves really kept the group together. And it's probably what they're doing much better than they are. They made about a couple of additions, spent about £60 million, which helped as well. So it's added a bit more quality to their team. They've really set the league alight this season against some of the bigger teams. What a great game it was yesterday as well when they beat Leicester 4-3. I do agree. I think most people, anyone could have took that Wolves team up last year. I think the players they had in the Championship last year was just, Ruben Neves really just took the league apart last year. Diogo Jota, the Portuguese core they had was good. Willy Bolly again, he was great last year. He's done all right this year, I suppose. But the main player, I think, if I look at Wolves, I've been really impressed with Connor Cody. I think he's been a fantastic player. He moved to centre half under obviously Nuno, and he's flourished there. Dennis Adorn, my thoughts there. I'm not too sure. I just don't see really how, at the moment, I said before, we can't drop him at the moment because there's nobody else who can really take his place at the moment. Thoughts on Harry Winks tonight? Yeah, I'm a fan of Harry Winks. I think he's a sound player. Took his goal well, put his head in there when it hurts. Yeah, I thought we deserved the point, but it's been the story of our season. I think coming from a Wolves fan there who just commented, it's been the story of our season really. The Yoga fight, well, something happened, didn't it, about that Yoga situation? Something did happen. We're never going to find out the actual truth in it, but something did happen. Whether or not it was a minor disagreement or a full-blown punch-up, we'll never know. But was Wolves? My predictions were Wolves. I thought they'd definitely get top 10. I think European football would have probably been a little bit of a push, but I definitely thought they would have got top 10. Michael Laudrup, yes, he did play good football with Swansea. He had a good team at Swansea as well. Won the League Cup, as we know, yet they beat Bradford in the final. I don't know if he's been in management I don't know how long he's been out of the management game. I don't know if he's when he got sacked from Swansea, whether he got another job in Europe or anything. I'm not too sure. Dean Smith wouldn't come to us, I don't think, after his Brentford roots and stuff. He hasn't done I don't know. At Aston Villa, he's done an okay job. Again, defensively, at Aston Villa, they're all over the place. So I think that just sums him. It sums his run up at the moment. The leaking goals left, right, and centre. Arsene Wenger, oh, no chance, not for me. He wouldn't come to us, and I wouldn't want him there either. Tim Ream, I thought, was poor today as well in the equalising goal. You can see the build-up. Took an absolute air shot, didn't he? Trying to clear the ball, and then they recycled it, put it back into the box, and they got the equaliser. But Tim Ream's been awful this season, and in my opinion, I wouldn't have him anywhere near my team in the Premier League. I think he did well in the Championship for the past couple of seasons under Slavisa, but he's nowhere near a Premier League player. Brighton will smash Fulham. I don't think Brighton will smash us. I think it'll be a tight game, but I don't see Brighton smashing us really. Who do I hate more, QPR or Brentford? I'll probably say Brentford really, because Brentford have this strange rivalry with us. They try to make things a little bit more relevant than probably what they are. QPR ain't as bad really, but Brentford definitely try and make a bit more of a rivalry with us than probably what it is. And their fan base are a tad annoying as well. Whenever we play them as well, they always get a bit jammy against us. All these 90-minute winners and equalisers and that. But I ain't got a massive problem with Brentford, but I think if I had to pick a team I didn't like more, I'd probably say it'd be them. Babel had me worried. Yeah, but he wasn't injured. I just don't think he's match fit, Ryan Babel, as I said before. But look, at the end of the day, I'm not too sure. I think Brighton are a team who they're a good side. You know, we played well today. I don't, you know, if we'd got smashed, I'll probably agree with you. But can I see Brentford come up anytime soon? At the moment, probably not. I think under Dean Smith, I would have said yes, but now they've let him go. Thomas Frank's done an average job there. Poor start, but he's unbeaten in 6 at the moment. I think they are. Can I see him coming up anytime soon? No, probably not. I think Neil, whatever you pronounce it, Maupay, I think will leave end of the season. I think maybe a Premier League club might look at him, but Brentford ain't looking at any offers less than £20 million, which would be interesting. So I'll have to keep watch on that. So that'd be an interesting move. But I think the Brighton game would be interesting. It'd be a cagey game for us. I think Brighton will enjoy it more because they're the away team. Again, a bogey side, as I said. But I don't know what the future holds this season. Ronaldo to Wolves. Portuguese links, it could happen. Don't rule anything out. Any Portuguese players want to go to Wolves. Am I a London lad? Yes, I am. Am I an optimist or a pessimist? Optimistic 9 times out of 10, but at the moment, you can't think, you know, you can't be, it's hard to be optimistic at the moment, isn't it, really? You can't really be optimistic too much. With the way we're playing at the moment, you cannot really look forward to any games. I think the build-up to today's game was generally quite flat after last week's defeat as well, and it was just been quite sad, really. Who do you think will... how do you think they'll get the Premier League up? I think Leeds will get hold of Marcelo Bielsa, and they'd obviously make a few good signings. They've obviously made an impressive signing in Kiko Casilla, actually, who's a good goalkeeper. I think they'd do quite well. I think Norwich, again, probably would do okay. I think they'd be similar to a Huddersfield, I think, coming up. Similar type of manager with Daniel Farke, who's done a fantastic job there this year. I remember we went up, I was up at Carrow Road last year and we beat them 2-0 away from home, and it's a different side to what I've seen now. Do you support any other team other than Fulham? No, I don't. Fulham through and through. Yeah, it's a tough one to take today. Bitter pill to swallow. It's a shame, really, because it seemed a nailed-on draw, really, and then it's a story of our season when mistakes after mistakes cost us. It's a similar goal we let in right at the end to the one we actually let in the FA Cup a couple of weeks ago. Similar type of cross, similar type of header. At the other end, obviously, but I do worry, you know, I think we are going to probably go down this season, and I think, would you take Ian Holloway? No, I wouldn't take him. He's a QPR boy, and he had QPR links last year. I wouldn't take him with us. He'd probably definitely try and improve the actual dressing room. He'd definitely get people up, and he'd try and get people up and fighting. Babel doesn't look a better... Yeah, I do agree. Babel looks like a bit more... does look a bit more of a smarter version of Kamara. I think he's more experienced, obviously, so when he's played a lot at Liverpool in the Champions League, in the Netherlands squad as well, so he's a bit more experienced than AK is, and I suppose really that helps predict my bottom 3 for the Prem. Huddersfield bottom, us 19th, and I'm going to go Cardiff 18th. I think I'll go there. Frank de Boer's gone to Atlanta United, actually, so he won't be taking any other job. He's actually gone to MLS with them, the newly crowned MLS champion, so he won't be in any idea for a job soon. I think he's gone there after his failure at Crystal Palace. I don't think English football would welcome him back with open arms anytime soon after his failed attempt, as I said. So, yeah, if he cracks the MLS, then good on him. He's got a good bunch there. Like people like Miguel Almiron, who's been linked with the Premier League, Joseph Martinez as well, who's broke every MLS record, goal scoring record, left, right and centre as well. So if you can't win anything with them, then definitely a problem with his coaching. Yeah, I do agree with Welsh teams playing in our league. If they're good enough to play in our league, then I don't see it as a problem. I'd probably say the same thing for Scottish teams, really. If they're good enough to play in the Premier League, then yes, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Will the Cons stay on board when we go down? Yes, I think they will. Well, the new stand's being built in the summer, so I can only presume they will. I'd be very surprised if they were to suddenly sell the football club and panic, which would be a bit of a problem. But I don't see them selling the club anytime soon. I think it's been a big learning curve for them this season and how they've approached it. Again, it's been a problem. Should Vieto be chucked in the Thames? Probably yes, I do agree. I'm not a big fan of him. Which Wolves player would you take if you could take one? Obviously, barring Ruben Neves. That's a tough one. Well, actually, no, Conor Cody for me. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's a good leader at the back. He's been generally quite solid from when I've seen him. And with our defensive problems, I do think he'd fit into our back line perfectly and would do a very good job. So I'd probably take Conor Cody out of that Wolves team. If we're going to have Swansea, Cardiff, Wrexham, and Newport playing our leagues, might as well say, I do agree with that. But the thing is, I think Celtic and Rangers do believe they're Premier League clubs, and it's that whole argument of what league will they go into should they come into the English leagues, whether or not they'll be Championship teams, Premier League teams, I'm not too sure. But I definitely welcome the idea. It add a bit more spice to the leagues, whichever league they'd be in, but it definitely add a bit more flavour to what is already competitive. I think if you chucked them in the Premier League with like teams like Leeds and that, it'd be very, very eye-opening. I think the Premier League on itself is generally quite bland. Compared to the Championship, well, like the experiences we had in the Championship, I think the Premier League is quite sanitised and bland. I'm not a big fan of it. Rangers, yeah, I'd say that's probably a fair shout. You guys play well, but to be fair, Llorente, Llorente. I think I do feel sorry for Llorente. I think when you're coming in out of the cold, really, it's a similar thing that Julian Speroni yesterday. He hasn't played a lot. Obviously, makes a couple of mistakes in goal for Palace yesterday. Similar thing with Llorente. He's not match sharp. Hasn't had many minutes in the first team this season. From the own goal was unlucky, really. That rarely happens. You rarely see a player, bounce the corner, hit him, and go in. Would you still take Danny Simpson after his recent performances? After watching him yesterday, it almost seemed like he was destined to get a move to Fulham, because I think it was the first goal or the second goal which Jota scored, a cross in the header where he didn't track Jota's run and he let it go in, and it was a problem. I don't think he's good enough. Don't know why people want to play in the Championship again. First two seasons were awful and it could easily happen again. I do agree with that, but at the moment we're not good enough to stay in this league. I know the first two seasons were awful, but I think we'd been a little bit... I think we'd been a bit more of a better place, I think, if we went down, because I think when we went down 4 years ago, there was a lot of pressure on the young players to really get us promoted and deliver. But I think a lot of the young players we've loaned, they've got quite a few minutes of first team football. Look at players like Marek Rodak, who's had 2 years at Rotherham now. He's been #1 there for the past 2 seasons. Had a promotion with Rotherham as well. Experience playing at Wembley. Obviously, Stephen Humphrys leaving was a shame. He scored 2 goals yesterday as well for Southend, which was a shame. I was a big fan of him, but obviously didn't get a crack of the whip, as you probably wouldn't expect in the Premier League. But there's a good young nucleus in the squad, in the group. Would Ryan Fredericks come back? Well, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd return to us, would he? I think he left for West Ham. He's obviously out injured for... I'm not sure how long he was out injured for, but he left for the bright lights of West Ham. Wanted more money with us, which is why we signed Cyrus Christie last January to try and bed him in, ready for the new season, all depending on which division we was in. Why did the rest give nothing to Mitch every week? I do agree with that. I think Davinson Sanchez again today. If you look to the reverse fixture back at Wembley, Davinson Sanchez was all over him again. Referees, I'm just not too sure. I think it happens with every target man, really. I think I've seen a lot of players in a load of leagues. When you're a target man, you attract a lot of attention. And Mitrovic, he's a player who commands a lot of attention from centre halves and players like that. And it's definitely a grey area for me. I'm not too sure why referees aren't giving much. Again today, he had a number of fouls on him. DDT'd Davinson Sanchez in the second half and got booked for it, which was quite comical. But it's definitely a grey area for me. I think he's just his size and that doesn't help him. Cyrus Christie, I could really... Yeah, Matt O'Reilly's attracting a lot of interest. I do worry. Hopefully... I did. For me, Fulham this season, anything above the drop zone for me would have been a good season for us. But going back to the Matt O'Reilly thing, I think if we don't play him any time soon, he'll leave. And I think it'd definitely be another Jadon Sancho or one of them types of players who goes to Germany and really flourishes there. And you can see why players like Jadon Sancho have really flourished in Germany. I think there's a lot less media hype around them, a lot less media pressure in Germany, and they just let them get on their football and play. And definitely, that's why he's definitely done big things at Dortmund. And I could see Matt O'Reilly doing similar things. He got to leave us and go to Germany, which would be a shame for us because I think he's a brilliant young talent, but we just got to see what happens. I don't think Ranieri really rates Sessegnon. He's been quite publicly critical of him, saying he needs to be a bit more aggressive in games and things like that. What's happened to the KL rumour? We can afford his wages from what I've heard, but Ranieri said last week that he's not too sure whether or not he wants to come in and fight with us in a relegation battle, which is probably the main factor in why he's not signed for us. It's a shame because it put him in a shop window, Gary Cahill, to get a move to a club if he were to stay up, if he were to go down. But if he were to be one of the better sparks in the team between now and May, it will definitely put him in the shop window to try and get a better move next season. Bettinelli, I think if we go down, Bettinelli will probably become #1, but I'd prefer to see Marek Rodak become #1. He's obviously had that bit of an experience in the Championship this season, and I think he's definitely stepped up. Remember when he was at Accrington, I think it was, and he went to Rotherham in his first season, and he looked quite raw. But yeah, I'll definitely play Rodak over Bettinelli. I've been impressed with Rodak whenever I've seen him at Rotherham. He's definitely developed quite into a good goalkeeper there. I think Cardiff done well. Yeah, Cardiff have done okay this season, to be fair. I think they were wise in what they did. They were realistic as well. They knew who they couldn't buy and who they could buy. But I've been impressed with their recent 2 additions. I think Umar Niasse is a good signing. Emiliano Sala is definitely a player who's going to be an interesting signing to watch from afar. Obviously, we were linked with him at the start of the window. It'd be interesting to see how he gets on. You can have Leo Bonatini. I'd probably take Bonatini if we went down. I know he hasn't played a lot this season. He scored a few goals last year as well. I completely understand the whole the Bettinelli fan club. I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's a bang average goalkeeper, if I'm honest. I think he's a Championship goalkeeper maximum. I think we found that out in the Premier League this year. I really want Sol Bamba. I don't know really. I don't know if I'd want him at the club. He's 35, I think now. He's ageing, but why haven't we signed a centre back so far? I don't know. I honestly don't know. If I knew the answer to that, I'm sure I could say that. Unfortunately, I don't know why we've not signed centre half. It's a problem. Well, no, Craven Cottage won't be a sellout next season. Last year we got about 20,000 last year. The season before that was around 17 to 16,000. So the attendances would drop significantly, I think, if we went down. If we would struggle and go down again, I think it would go down to about 11,000, 10,000. But it wouldn't stop me going. I think no matter what division we were in, I'd still be there. We have too many loans. They all have, yeah, but we don't have too many loans, I don't think. We've only got a couple in there already. Callum Chambers, Fossey Mensah and Vieto. I think that's only a couple in there. I'm not too sure. Apart from Mitrovic, who do you think was the best signing from the summer? I'll answer that in a second. Question for me for the chairman? Probably not. I don't think. But going back to that question, do you think was the best signing of the summer aside from Mitrovic? It's interesting, really. I've been impressed with Callum Chambers. I've been happy with how he stepped up this season. I think he started off okay, then he got pushed out to right back against Cardiff, put back into midfield. I think I've been impressed by him. If Ryan Babel continues with the performances he's done this season, then I could definitely add him to that list. But I'd say probably Callum Chambers. Alfie Mawson, I would have said, but now he's obviously now injured because I've loved how he's come and improved our back line. I do agree with Chambers. At the moment, probably Callum Chambers for me. Best signing by Mitrovic. Just generally consistent, wins a lot of the second balls, does the dirty things in the midfield. So he's now a fan favourite after everything on the pitch and kissed the badge. Oh, did he do that after the game he did today? Oh, okay, fair enough. I didn't quite understand why I did that. Batshuayi, no, I think he's going to go to Monaco, I think, today, Batshuayi. Well, I don't know where he's going. Will I take him on loan? Probably. I think he's a good goal scorer on his day. Hasn't had a lot of opportunities at Chelsea, so... Yeah, Fonte's similar to Vieto. I said on Twitter after the Oldham game, I tweeted out saying he's basically Rui Fonte 2.0. A lot of similarities to him, to what we saw with Rui last season. Do you think Tom Kenny will stay? I honestly don't know. He's 28 now, and would we take Antonio? Antonio wouldn't come to us. He's involved a lot in the West Ham squad. But going back to the whole Tom Kenny thing, he's 28 now. He's ageing. He's had a consistent knee problem. He's not the player he was, and I think that he'd probably stay, I think. Do you think we'd be better off with all the Championship players? I don't know. I really don't know. Best and worst fans at Craven Cottage this season, in your opinion? Well, if I say best fans, well, Oldham were up there, I think, for the best fans. Because, when you get some of these Premier League fan bases come to the ground, they're generally quite plastic and they're a bit sanitised. But I think Oldham were a proper 4,000 lot of proper fans, really. And you got the whole impression that they were a bunch of real fans who'd been following the club through thick and thin. I think if we're going to talk about Premier League fans, not many Premier League fans have really impressed me this season. You don't really get many loud Premier League fans away from home this season. I've noticed that a lot, and I've noticed this a lot as well. When Premier League clubs away from home celebrate goals, the limbs in the away end isn't as good as it's in Championship. Because I've seen teams like Sheffield Wednesday come to us before, and people have almost died in the away end from when I've seen when they've scored. And I just definitely think that the Premier League fans, this is a lot more sanitised, as I said before. Yeah, these tourists do. I was watching it on Sky today, obviously, and they were close. They were doing close-ups of the crowd, and you know, I can't talk because of what I do during games, but a lot of these people are there, cameras out and that. And I don't have my camera out throughout the whole of the game. If people sat next to me, you'll see my camera's out for probably about 10 to 15 minutes of the game, because I actually go to watch the game as well, believe it or not. I go to watch the game, but a lot of these people have so many, you know. Yeah, I was impressed when we played Newcastle at the start of the 16-17. Excuse me. At the start of the 16-17 season, they sold out the away, and they were quite a good bunch of fans. I've got a lot of respect for Newcastle as a club, and I like the fan base too. They're a big group of start again. They're a good fan base, and I've got a lot of respect for them. What do you think about Johansson leaving? I think he'll leave, if on loan, hopefully. Hopefully will stay next season. Do you think Ranieri will still be there at the end of the season? Nope. Ranieri will leave, I think. If he don't get sacked, he'll resign. Bring back Matt Smith. I was actually one of the few who actually like Matt Smith, to be fair. I thought he was a good striker, Matt Smith. He was a great, you know, good header. Going back to that 2016 header, that was a great header that day. It was a good game. But I like Matt Smith. Obviously scored yesterday for QPR. Hasn't had a lot of games for QPR this season. Will they have him back? Well, it depends how the squad, what the squad looks like next season. But it'd definitely be a good target man to have in the Championship, and that's for sure. Conte was in the crowd today. Yes, he was also at training ground during the week as well, from what I heard, chatting to Claudio Ranieri during the week. Hopefully he could give him a bit more of an idea and put him at the back. So I know Conte was a good defender in his day. Put him in the back line. Favourite Fulham game ever? I think in recent memory it's got probably in the Wembley final at the moment. Really, I think for what I think definitely the Wembley final. I think the build up to that was fantastic. I think Derby at home in the past was a day I'll never forget. Going on the pitch and everything was a great night. But best game at the moment was Wembley. But I think if we go down, I think that will become meaningless for me, which is a shame. Why don't we bring back Chris Martin? Probably not. I don't think so. Is this the worst Fulham team you've seen in the Premier League? I think it's definitely up there with the 13-14 crew. It's probably, I don't know, it's a tough one. I think it all depends what happens now. I think if we go down with probably around less than 20 points, it would be, I think, for me. Because we've had some bloody good teams in the past. We have, you know, when we came up in 2000, I'd give my left arm to have players like that in the team, but players like Steve Malbronk, Kit Simons, Chris Morgan, Louis Sahar, Barry Hales. If we had some of them players in our team now, we've been nowhere near where we are in the league, and they were fantastic players. A little bit before my time, obviously, but from what I've seen of in the highlight reel and that, there were some absolute quality players who got us up, and probably arguably one of the better, you know, alongside Wolves, one of the best teams to get promoted out of the Championship. Will Mitrovic stay? I don't think he will. I think we'd get a good bit of money for him. He scored 8 goals this season. Hopefully he can get double figures before May comes around, and hopefully get about, what, £30 million for him, hopefully. If any clubs want to try and get that, try and get him a bit more interest on top, which would be interesting for us, hopefully. But we've just got to see how we go, really. It's going to be a difficult season. It is worrying times for us. Yes, it is worrying times. It's a shame. Anyone here? No, anyone here drinking the Bedford Dawes Road? I've never heard of that pub in my life. Mitrovic will go abroad. I could see him going abroad, yeah. I could see that happening. Although he might want to stay in the Premier League, it's up to him. But abroad would definitely appeal to him. I think a big club would come to him. I do agree. We do. I think we lack a complete midfield general. I think someone can get on the ball and play. I think we lack that type of presence in the midfield. Chambers is getting there, but he's far from the finished article and still learning his trade in terms of being a defensive midfielder. And I don't think we're going to get anywhere near. No, we're not. As, he's not a finished article yet, as I said. So I don't think that would be a wise one. But we do need a bit more of a steely midfielder to try and come into play alongside Chambers. Because Seri, for me, he just makes rash tackles during games. The booking he got today was a silly tackle, and it's just summed up his whole Fulham career to date. Really, he reminds me a lot of Drissa Gueye at Aston Villa when they went down. Similar type of player. Mitrovic, yeah, I could see him suiting well to a Burnley team, but I don't think we're going to go at Burnley. I think he could do a whole lot better than Burnley. But if they stay up, big Fulham pub. I've been to a few Fulham pubs along out of Putney Station before, but I'm not too familiar with the names really. Do you think we should go for more English players? It's a funny one because I see a lot on Twitter of fans moaning about, you know, we link with English players, we link with players from Chelsea, and that fans moan. We link with these foreign players that people complain about, and fans moan. So it's definitely another grey area in our fan base. And I think if you want to see some right comedic value, I'd definitely recommend going on the Fulham Facebook page, because there's some absolute brilliant posts and some absolute numpties on there who ain't got a Scooby-Doo about what they're talking about, and it's just absolute quality to see certain things from them. But I think we could do with a bit more Premier League experience. I'd definitely be happy with anyone who could sign between now and the end of the season to come in now with a bit more experience and just try and help us and see where we finish. But it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, I know. In the last 3 minutes, Mitrovic didn't do a lot. I think really for me, he's a striker. He's isolated, isn't he? He relies heavily on the wingers to try and support him. Do you think that since Man City takeover, football's been destroyed? Well, it's made it a lot harder coming up into the Premier League. When you're coming up now, the amount of money you've got to then try and invest into a team's ridiculous to try and stay up. The IAP, yeah, they are. I mean, the IAP's quickly on the Facebook page. I remember there was one in the summer who said, you know, we're signing players with names like Zambo and all that, and we should be signing players like Harry and Mike and all that, which is hilarious. There was one idiot who said we should get Ryan Shaw across for 15 million, and he's not worth 15 million in a month of Sundays, is he? He's not even worth about 5 million now, really. But yeah, the Fulham Facebook page is a laugh. You know, I'd highly recommend any supporter to go and check that out for a bit of a laugh if you're feeling a bit shit of yourself and that. You know, it's definitely a good comedic value page. But yeah, going back to the whole of today and that, it's just quite poor, isn't it? Really, it's good. It's a stand. Yeah, the stand's still going on regardless of where we are this season. It's been announced we've got a contract with a building company, development company as well. So regardless of where we are next season, it will be going ahead. What's the Fulham Facebook page called? I'm actually not too sure what the actual name is, but I just see a lot of screenshotted tweets, screenshotted pictures from Twitter. I guess you just typed in Fulham something like that on it. I don't know. Go back to the thought at the back. If we go down, well, it all depends on who we have. I think if we went for Chris Wilder, he likes back three, doesn't he? He likes a three and he likes using the back three with one of the centre halves. Troy would be a good signing. Nope. Your fans remind me so much of Huddersfield fans. Well, it depends what you mean, really. Huddersfield fans. I like Huddersfield fans. They're generally quite a good set of fans who are realistic. You know, they're not really a bitter bunch of fans. What two players would take out the Leeds team more? So that's a good question. I'm not too sure, really. I think Leeds, they're a good side. The young lad Jack Clark's a good player. I'll probably take him. I think if we're to sell Sessegnon, I definitely want him in my team. Jack Clark's a good player. And if I had to go for one more, the Clappers. Yeah, I know the Clappers are crap. I hated them. Never used them. Never will. Going back to the old Leeds, Jack Clark's one. I'd probably go Pontus Jansson too in the Championship. I think he's a big brute defender. I like him. The formation suits us, yes, but I think we ain't got players who really fit the system, and it's frustrating really because we're not taking too many gambles at the moment in terms of trying to sign some players. Bringing in Cisse and Cabana was a joke. They can't start the Championship. Yeah, that's true. I don't even know where Cisse was for the past year. What do you think of Lewis Grabbanel? I like him a lot. I'll definitely try and sign him. I think with Martin O'Neill going to Forest now, it's definitely going to be interesting to see whether he stays there or not. So obviously he started two up front on yesterday with Daryl Murphy. I'd like him in my team. He scores goals in every team he's been in the Championship. Victor Moses, yes, I'll take him in a heartbeat. He's played the wing back under Conte at Chelsea. Definitely best fans of the Championship for me. It's Birmingham or Leeds. Birmingham are good. I've always liked Sheffield Wednesday fans. I think they've always been absolutely loud when they've come to us. Derby County, they've always got a good set of fans. Leeds as well. I think the two teams you've named there, and I'd probably add Sheffield Wednesday to that as well, and maybe Derby at a push as well, probably. But Sheffield Wednesday for me I've always liked playing them at home because their fan base are good. You always see the Tango man down the front with his top off, bald head, which is always entertaining. And then when I think one of the best goals I've seen live was probably Ross Wallace's goal in 2015. I think the strike. If you haven't seen it on YouTube, I'd definitely go and advise you go and type it, go and find it. It was the first game of 2015, I think it was, or 2016, and it was a wet day, and he absolutely volleyed it in. It was a great finish. Worst fans here, Wigan are awful. I think we played them a couple of times in the Championship, and they've only brought about a taxi load of fans down. They've not been a great set of fans. Worst player in this Fulham team at the moment. Can I only name one? I can probably name about 5 or 6. I can't name one really. I think there's a whole bunch of players who get that same accolade. Thoughts on Sonic? Luke Freeman would be a good. I think if we were to sell Tom Kenny, I'd definitely go for Luke Freeman. Worst fans in the Premier League and Championship. Yeah, our fan base ain't really great, really. We get abused a lot of the time. Really, our fan base isn't fantastic. We've got. Well, I don't know really what can we do. We get slated a lot on social media. Why bring on the season? McDonald, I don't think was even in the squad today, which is just I think he wasn't even in the group and. He could go out and loan to Middlesbrough. I think I was surprised we didn't bring on Tom Kenny of all players. I thought Tom Kenny would have definitely came on today, but he didn't come on. And Ibrahim Cisse, I'm not impressed by him. I think he's the barrel of shit for being brutally honest. I think he's rubbish. I think he's absolute awful. He's not a player I want in my team, and I hope we sell him off sooner rather than later. But yeah, our fan base, going back to that, we're generally quite, Away from home, we don't take too many. Home games, the atmosphere is okay, but the atmosphere in recent weeks ain't been too great. You know, it's understandable, but when we want to, we do take good numbers away from him. When we can do, we can. We should put Ryan in left wing back. Well, yeah, I think, you know, if he's not going to get a game plan across the attacking front three, I think at wing back it wouldn't be a problem. Joe Bryan's been, you know, best fans in the Premier League. Oh, God. That's a tough one. I'm not too sure, really. Some of the teams we've played this season I've not been impressed with. I'm hoping when we've got teams like Newcastle and that who come down towards the latter stage of the season, they'll be a bit better. While what Ranieri's season sees how to give him that many Premier League minutes, yeah, I don't know what he sees in him either, to be fair. I think he's a barrel of rubbish. £100 for a ticket, don't blame him. Well, I think it was £60 for an adult ticket today, I think, from what I was doing my research during the week, about 60 odd quid for an adult ticket, and that's just an absolute barrel of laughs. You know, charging that money for just for any Premier League game, shocking. I think it's just an absolute robbery, daylight robbery, and you're fleecing hard, you know, you're fleecing proper supporters out of a job, and it's just generally quite wrong, if I'm being brutal, so I don't agree with it at all. And, you know, if we go down, they're going to have to definitely rethink that strategy and see where we go from there, which would be a problem, but it's just what happens, really. But I do worry long term about the football club, where we go from here. It's going to be it's a big problem, and, you know, I'm not too sure what happens between now and the end of the season, whether we stay up dramatically or not. You know, it's worrying, and I do really worry long term for the welfare of the football club. It's a shame. I do follow non-league football. I do follow a lot of the National League South, and that. I do go to a few non-league games. My local non-league National League South team, I've got two actually down the road to me who are in the National League South. Both are not doing too badly at the moment, and they're both quite good teams. So I do go down into international breaks whenever I can. And I actually know the goalkeeper who used to be goalkeeper in charge, who used to be goalkeeper at Dartford, my local non-league team. His dad's a taxi driver who I know. And his son, you know, plays for Gibraltar internationally, or used to, was involved in the World Cup qualifiers and things like that. So he's played against lots of Belgium and stuff, and I know his dad quite well. So that's proper non-league football story, really. I think bring back Clint Dempsey. No, I've been to Leyton Orient before. A few of my family support Cambridge United, so I went there. I think 2 years ago on the away day to Leyton Orient. They were winning 1-0 Cambridge, and then Ollie Palmer got an equaliser right at the end of the game, and that was harsh. Thoughts for the Palace game, we'll probably lose. Should Fabry get a chance? Probably not. I don't see him getting another chance there. Although Rico, to me, flaps out a lot of crosses. What do you think about the Khans buying players that Slav didn't want? Well, Slav knew what he was getting himself into, especially the next season, didn't he? He knew what he was getting himself into. He tried to have a bit more control, a bit more power, but, you know, Tony Khan, he likes having his say on players, and it was never going to change, really, was it? Which was a shame. But what can you do? Love your vids. Oh, cheers. Appreciate that. I do try my best whenever I do. But it's good to get some appreciation from people. And if we go down next year, would you sack Ranieri if you don't get points on next game? I wouldn't sack him though. I don't see who. If we sack Ranieri, who do we go for? Who do we go for? I don't see really. You know, it's pointless. Worst stadium in the Premier League. Worst stadium. Yeah, Sellers Park's probably up there for me. Get your ass down to Biffin, or get you a beer. Get me a drink. If you tell me where it is, I'll pop down there. Are you at Fulhamish? Well, I'm out a small part of the Fulhamish team, yes. I'll do a few predicted 11 videos prior to the weekend games. And I'm a small part of the team there, which is good. I've been in talks with Sammy for a couple of months now, actually. You know, I was messaging him on Twitter for a couple of months now. We finally got to get some ideas done for videos. Hopefully, there'll be a few more things coming out on the Fulhamish channel. A few little small things, which is nice to get involved with. They're a good bunch of lads on that channel, and that good team who've done fantastic well for the football club. They've really given the club a voice, and, you know, I can't really speak high enough of them. They're fantastic. You know, they've really given the club a voice. You know, what's your opinion on Kenny? You know, for me, Tom Kenny's not the same player he was 2 years ago. I remember at Ipswich last year, I was up there when he had that injury, and he's never been the same player. This season, have you been to any away games outside London? No, I actually don't really get the opportunity to go to many away games. I have other things happen on alternate weekends. I'm lucky enough to go to the home games as much as I do, but away games for me, I don't really get the time to go to many of them. And I only really go to them if I get the chance to, really. I obviously have family near Cambridge, so teams like Norwich and Ipswich would help. You should go on Fulhamish fan of Camwell. Sometimes, I would, maybe, I'd consider going on there, but I don't want to. I've been on Fulham fan TV before. You're going to go to West Ham away? Maybe, I'm not too sure. Bit of a stupid question, but do fans often recognise you at the cottage? Actually, they don't really. I like that really. I do get a few. I've had a few pictures and stuff with some good people and that. You know, people who watch the channel and that, and I'm more than happy to do that for people. A couple of younger viewers have seen me before, and I'm more than happy with that. At Wembley, I had a couple of people see me, but on the whole, I don't actually, and I do like it because I go there to enjoy the game. And if people see me and that, they say hello, well, you know, I'll never have a problem with that. But it's nice really when I don't get mobbed because, you know, at games, sorry, Oldham, would you revert back to 4-3-3 with Kearney, Chambers and Seri? Yeah, you know, it's all about experimenting between now and the end of the season, I think. What do you think of AFTV? Yeah, I think, yeah, AFTV. You know, AFTV to me, I've never been a big fan of it really. I think they just, you know, exploit, you know, I don't want to throw shade too much on them because for one, I could wake up tomorrow morning and that and there could be so many people jumping on this and abusing me, but yeah, there's certain fan bases or certain fan channels that definitely make a load of money off of the club's, you know, not the success, but the bits in between, which is a shame. Yeah, I heard about Mawson getting injured about his boots, but yeah, go back to AFTV, they do make a big parade about things. I tend to think I'm more even-minded when it comes to games. I don't really scream and shout and make like over-dramatic videos. It's never been me. I like to think I'm quite a level-headed supporter about my club, but I'll never scream and shout to try and gain attention. I see a lot of people in the same industry as what I do get absolutely slammed on Twitter for what they do, and I just try and keep my content to a T. Going to Watford, well, Watford away is the day before my birthday, so I'm hopefully going to get a ticket to that, and hopefully have a bit of a piss up down there. I might try and go there. Yeah, I know, yeah, most people that watch AFTV, yeah, like myself, I just watch it for a bit of a laugh sometimes. I'd say the only person I like off AFTV is probably Lee Judges. I like Lee a lot. I think he says it how it is. He's not an attention seeker and he's just quite realistic. He's a realist, and I like Lee a lot on AFTV. I think he's a good bloke, working class man as well. And he's not an attention seeker, and that's what I like about some fans. He says it how it is. He's honest, and as honest as you want from a fan, and I'm a big fan of his. And he's probably really the only fan cam I watch, really. You've spoken to Lee before. I was hoping to bump into him when we played them in September, but I didn't see him there. But I'm a big fan of Lee's. I think he's definitely, as I said, my favourite of AFTV. I always go to his fan cam first if I do watch it because I like what he says, really. He's just a good footballing bloke. And you don't get many of them around on these fan channels and that. And it's good to see he's on there. And, you know, I'm a big fan of his. I think I saw a little thing about the referees. That referees, for me, are a piss take, you know. If I could talk about referees all day, I mean, I think most referees are arrogant. I think you look at referees nowadays and that, and they spend more time thinking about how they look in front of the cameras and things like that, and actually getting on with the game. Mike Dean springs to mind. He looks immaculate every week, doesn't he? He always makes sure he's all tanned up in his oil and stuff, looking nice, and it just really pisses me off. It does. Yeah, I like Claude as well, to be fair. Claude's good. I think Claude's actually quality with Ty. When Ty says something, Claude starts swearing. It's brilliant, I think. Am I the only one who thinks it's a good thing Kenny isn't starting? I think Kenny was good last week, but yeah, I think he's not the same player he was. Let's be brutally honest, wasn't he? He's not the same player he was. He's definitely struggled for form this year. Will Aite Cabano go this window? Aite probably, yeah. I did hear a rumour last week that Cabano could have been going to Sheffield Wednesday. Watch that space, I'm not too sure. What do you think of DT, especially when Arsenal lose? He's a bit of a, I don't know, I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's a bit of a child, really, sometimes. Whether or not he does it for attention. Chris Kavanagh, oh, he's a bit of a funny referee, but DT on the whole, I'm not a great fan of his, really. I don't mind Mark Goldbridge. I think he's quite comical. I like what he does. He's a good laugh, Mark. People say he's faking that, but I don't think he is. I think he's just a good bloke. He's a good laugh from what I've seen. I mean, I don't know him personally, so I'm not going to judge somebody, but he's quite funny. I like, you know, he's a passionate guy. He likes his club. People slag him off, but he's a good person, really. Personally, I think thoughts on Robbie. Yeah, I like Robbie as well. I think Robbie's okay. I mean, credit to him in that he saw a gap in the market for what, you know, something that Arsenal lacked as a fan base, and he, you know, he exploited it. It's a lot like what Fulhamish did as well, and he did it well. Yeah, Mark Oliver, best ref in the league. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm always a big fan of his. I think when we had him for the Southampton game, he was good. Yeah, expressions, I like him as well. He does make me laugh. His analogies of games are quite funny. He's a good person as well. There's a few good people out on fan channels, really, and he's definitely a good one as well. I like him. But yeah, Mark Oliver, best ref in the league for me as well. I like the way how he lets games flow. He's not a card-happy referee as well, but he's a very honest and good referee as well. So I'm pleased. You know, I'd like to see him referee more of our games. I think he's generally quite fair. I thought the ref today wasn't too bad. You know, Brighton will beat Fulham. Yeah, I've seen a few comments about that. I'm not going to say too much about that. I already know the Facebook account. Do you watch other fan channels? I don't watch 100% Chelsea, and it's not because of the rivalry, it's not petty like that. I just don't really get around to watching them, really. Full-time Devils I watch now and again. I watch the United stand a bit because of Mark Goldbridge. Conte to be assistant for Ranieri, that'd be quite comical, wouldn't it? If he come and kept us up, then they both won the league together next year. That would be quite funny, but it's not going to happen. First film game I went to, oh God, right, that's a good question. I think we're going back a very long time. I think 2005, 2006, I think it was. Sat in the Johnny Haynes stand against Watford. I think it was a 0-0 draw, and that was my first actual memory of Fulham. I remember one time, I think about that season, we sat in the Hammersmith end, right down by the corner flag, and this is back in the days when we used to have a drum. We were sat by the drummer in the days of Vincenzo Montello when he scored, doing the aeroplane celebration. You know, I'm going back a long way. I'm showing my age here, my 18 years of wonderful youth, and you know, happy times when we had some decent players at the club. Do you think our team have lost belief on Ranieri? No, I don't think we have. I think today's performance definitely sums that up. We're just struggling. Patrick Roberts of Fulham, hopefully not. Best and worst fans have experienced atmosphere-wise. Sheffield Wednesday are definitely up there, as I said, I think, for me. I think worst fans, really. What's happening with your EFL account? I ain't got the time to really run that at the moment, to be fair. Lewis is a good laugh when Chelsea lose. Yeah, I've seen him on social media before. He's quite funny, yeah. I've seen Lewis around on social media. I saw him actually outside Stamford Bridge when I come up the station at the Chelsea game. I saw him as well, so I didn't speak to him, obviously, but I walked past him. But I remember Montello as well. Yeah, Montello's a good player. Yeah, he was linked to replace Slav. I remember he was linked to replace him as manager when Slav got sacked. But he was a good player, Montello, in his day. Good goal scorer. That celebration will always remember me very well on that, the aeroplane. Opinions on those clappers, plastic atmosphere at every Fulham game, yeah. Look, to be fair on that, look, real fans like ourselves don't like them clappers. We don't know why we still got them. We used them, I think, about 4 years ago for our relegation thing in the Championship. And, it was a good addition then, but they should have been dropped a long time ago. Do you know what happened with the Ogre incident? I don't think we'll ever find out, really. By the sounds of it, it was a disagreement. Things happened, and I don't think we'll ever find out exactly what happened, really. I always throw my clapper. Yeah, I do as well. I always chuck them on the floor. You think Wolves will win the Premier League in the next 10 years? I don't see no reason why they couldn't. Did you see Brian McBride play for us? Yeah, I did. Yeah. I did see him play for us. Luckily, fantastic player. Just a typical striker. Back Martin Yolt to join. Martin Yolt at Fulham. What do you think of about the flags? Well, if you can look here, I actually took one back from the game against Derby. In the playoffs game, I actually took one. Shouldn't have nicked it, but fuck it. Memorabilia, bit of memory for the playoff game. Kept it ever since, and it's definitely something that I can look back on with fond memories. Now I've got to roll it all back up again. How wonderful. Take your time rolling it up. It's a right pain in the arse when I open the door and it always falls on the floor, but memorabilia here. Got a few clappers down there from like back in the day when they were used, they used to be good. Yeah, a few flags there and that, which was quite cool. Obviously, the new calendar in the corner there. Do you agree with Bournemouth in the Premier League as they have the same similar size stadium? Oh, they're good. Stadium size don't really matter to me, but if they're good, if you're good enough to come up, then stadium shouldn't really matter. I hadn't heard the Southampton manager and he's turned the season around. Neither have I, to be fair. I knew a little bit about who he was, but nothing major. But he's done very well. Cess will leave, I think, if we go down. If we go back on the Fulham memorabilia thing, I will eventually have to dig out all the programmes I've got, because I've got a programme collection going back to about 2013 for every single home game. And I'm looking at all of them now, like piled up in boxes and stuff, and I'll get them eventually all out. Not all out of boxes, but I'll get them all out, and there's loads. And I mean, there's so many memories going back to like 13. I really started collecting programmes from about 13, 14 onwards. Or 14, 15 actually, sorry, onwards, and there's quite a few things there. So successful support day was why isn't he performing? I don't know. I think morale could help. I think when you start from the bench, it was a little bit disheartening, but I think when he comes off the bench, he's got to try and be a bit more motivated to try and improve and prove why he should start. Really, it's a shame because I'm a big fan of his, but look, things ain't going well for us at the moment. We are struggling. Against Burnley, I stole 2 flags because we've got. I don't blame you. Yeah, that was a good day winning that game against Burnley. Yeah, I remember them. Happy days. Stingy flags. Yeah, I remember that. Speaking of flags, actually, I'll go back to a minute. Three realistic players you can sign tomorrow. Who would it be? 3 players I'd sign. Well, Jared Bowen, Bradley Dack, and Gary Cahill for me. I think 2 players there who, if you go down in the Championship, would stick around. And Gary Cahill on a 6-month deal between now and the end of the season. Do you think Ranieri doesn't like Cesc? I don't think he really. I don't think he's his biggest fan. He's been quite critical of him, as I said earlier on, about his performance, about his physicality and things like that. If he leaves to a big team, his career will be over. Sessignon, I don't think will be. I think Sessignon's career will only go up. Who's the first guy you said again? Thoughts on Anguissa? Anguissa's a pile of pissing, really. The first guy said Jared Bowen, Bradley Dack, and Gary Cahill, I think. Anguissa's rubbish, I think, going back to that as well, Trevor. I think he's not great at all. Why are we leaving it late again? Our signing support. Bradley Dack's a diva. Oh, I know, his house got burgled recently. I know he's with Olivia Attwood of Love Island as well, and that's not the reason why I want him to sign. But he's a bit. I know he's a bit of a diva, and well, when you've got a girlfriend who's been in Love Island and stuff like that, you know, things like that are quite interesting. What's your opinion on Babel? I think Babel was quite good today. Want to see more of him, hopefully, between now and the end of the season. He was generally quite good. Cisse's been surprisingly adequate. He's been okay. I don't think he's been great. He hasn't put up too many trees, has he, really? He's been average. You know, he's not been fantastic. I think, like, we've been on a stream for about an hour now. Okay, it's been interesting. I'll keep it going for about 15 more minutes, I'll say. So I do need to get some rest as well. I do have a life. But yeah, if you want to see more of these type of things, maybe like once a week or something, do let me know. I'll be more than happy to do maybe one of these like on a Thursday evening or something for about an hour. I'm not ending it an hour, by the way, but if you want to see more of these, then please let me know. It's definitely something I'd be interested in. See, you know, answer some questions. Did you go to Arsenal away? No. I was actually New Year's Eve nursing a hangover New Year's Day after I overindulged on New Year's Eve on a night out. How do you think your attack will fare when Schürrle and Vieto go back from loan? Yes, do more live streams. Yeah, I probably will. I'll probably do one once a week, probably, in the build-up to games, as well as all the other content that I'll roll out across the channel. I think if we go down next season, I probably won't do previews, match previews, I don't think, next year. I might do previews, or I might just do match vlogs only. I'm not too sure if we go down. You go into any more away games? I'm not too sure, really. Opinions on its fusions. Yeah, I've actually collabed with him, actually, and when we did the actual reverse fixture for Brighton, I actually collabed with him on the previews. He's a good person. I spoke to him on Twitter before and that. No problems with him at all. He's a good person. Collabed with him on his channel as well. Yeah, he you know, typical, he's a good person. He's put a lot of effort into his channel and stuff and deserves the amount of subscribers he gets. Do you think Sessignon has had a rough season due to coaching? It's been a strange season for him. Lovely streams. Thanks for that. I do appreciate that. Do you think we'll terminate Schürrle if we go down? Yes, I think we will. I don't see. He won't want to stay there. Last season's thoughts on how Arsenal fans treat Wenger. Well, I think it was the previous chairman, in fact, was Mohamed Al Fayed. Really, do these streams every week? I'll probably do one once every week. Probably once, probably a Thursday. I think, so I'm going to have a bit of time in the evening on a Thursday to do these. But going back to the Arsene Wenger thing, I think that last year, you know, I think it's got a bit stale, didn't it? I think the fans were probably a bit harsh, but you know, I think when the thing is, it's been snowballing for about a couple of years, didn't it? What do you film on? I actually film on my iPhone, really. I haven't got the money to film on other like equipment and stuff. I do things basically for, you know, I do film on my phone and stuff. I do, you know, my laptop did break, so that didn't help, but most of my things on my mobile, I do a lot of editing on that, really. Not a lot, really, but I feel like I do a decent enough job on that, you know, if, you know, I don't really need to pay for it. Do you do YouTube full time? No, I don't. At the moment, nope, I do not. Do you play FIFA? Yes, I do. I was actually playing a bit of it before. I don't do YouTube full time, though. To do that, I'd have to get some ridiculous money. Advice starting a YouTube channel? Well, it depends what type of channel you're doing. If you're doing a gaming channel on that, you know, you just got to be consistent, don't you? Just believe in what you do. If you don't get as many views as you think, don't let it dishearten you. And just see how you do, really. You know, you just got to keep going. How do you feel about having 1K subs? Yeah, it's good. I'm happy with it. You know, the channel really snowballed. I didn't ever envisage having that. I thought we'd probably get to about 500 and something and see what happened there. But, you know, everything really just snowballed, and it was great to see. And I'm happy that the channel's doing well. Obviously, there are a few other Fulham channels about that do similar things, but I think really what I'm doing, you know, why it's become a success is because it's a bit more original. It's just through, you know, an individual fan who can really relate to other fans like myself. It's probably why I'm doing quite well. And you know, I just like talking about the club. I've got a passion for the club. Thoughts on Fusion HD? Yeah, I've spoke to Fusion before. He's fine on that. I've collabed with him for Brighton previews and stuff like that. When I've spoke to him, he's been more than happy to help me out and more than happy to do previews with me and stuff, so I haven't got a problem with him at all. He's a good person, he's worked hard and he deserves everything he does. Have a good night. I'm off. Yeah, have a good night as well. Thoughts on Pez? What happened to your FIFA uploads? The Fulham YouTube channel is embarrassing. Oh, the club channel. I didn't have the time really to do the FIFA channel, FIFA videos anymore. I just didn't have no time. They were a long pain in the arse to make. They were fun, but I just didn't have the time to process it, edit it, and go through it all. And that it just took too much time. I would give Steven Session a go. Been sub since around 200 subs. What the hell? That's a long time. Quality content. Well, we've come a long way from about 200 up to about 1400 now. Not far off 1500. What is your favourite video you've uploaded? Probably the semi-final against Derby. I think that was great. I really think that was probably the best video I've done. The playoff final was good, but I do think the Derby game was great for going on the pitch as well. And then it was just fun. What happened to your old intro? My old intro, it was basically. It looked a bit, I don't know, because we got promoted and that, I thought I'd go for a bit of a change and ditch the intro. I watch match vlogs after a game, love it, keep up the good work. I do appreciate that, that is good. Thanks for the kind words. I do try my best. I mean, my vlogs ain't as good as, I look at other people on YouTube and they put a lot more effort into them and that. It's not me being, lazy and stuff. I don't have the resources that other people do to make things a little bit better, but I work with what I've got and people seem to appreciate that. So, I'm not going to make excuses, I'll just go on. Favourite top 3 Fulham vlog? Can't wait for the vlog today. I actually didn't go to the game today, unfortunately. Not been feeling too great. Favourite top 3 Fulham goals? Oh God, that's a tough one. I don't know. It's hard to whittle them down. There's been so many good ones. I couldn't whittle anything down. What a shame. Yeah, I wasn't feeling too great. I've been nursing a bit of an illness for the past 2 weeks. Got on the train today. Was gonna go, but then I just got about a couple of stops and I thought I can't. I'll be back during midweek for the Brighton game. But yeah, it's a shame. I was looking forward to today as well, but it's the first home game I've missed since Middlesbrough at home in 2017. Who do you think will get top 4? Liverpool, City, Spurs, and I'm going to put my neck out the line and go Arsenal. Bring Woodrow back? Probably not. He's League One's his level. He's thriving at Barnsley. I think it's 8 goals this season now for him, but he was one of them players who again divided opinion, and I don't think he's really good enough for us in the Premier League or Championship. I think League One's more his level. But if he comes up with Barnsley next year and we play him and that, it'd be good to see how he's progressed. He was always had a good attitude, pardon me. Always had a good attitude, but yeah. What does Randy think about 2007? Are you one of those people who randomly hate MK Dons? Probably not. I ain't got a problem with MK Dons. When we've played them once before in the Championship and that, and they seemed okay. People, they have a lot of problems with MK Dons, but I don't have a problem with their fans because it's not their fans' fault at the end of the day. They've supported a team that's happened to come up into their area, and you can't really have a go at them. Do you think Sessegnon will leave if you get relegated? Yeah, I think he'll go. We'll cash in on him and take the money. I think that'd be a good idea. I could see him probably going to Spurs. I think that'd be the right next move for his development. Going to a team like them would probably be best for him, I think, going forward, which would be beneficial for him. But going back to the question about what was 2007-08, well, I don't remember too much about 2007, really. Not sure we've ever beaten Brighton, have we? I don't think we have. Especially in the Championship, they were definitely a bogey side. We lost them in 14-15. Oh, no, we have beaten Brighton away, yeah. We beat Brighton away in 14-15. Lasse Vigen Christian scored, and I think Rod Jaeger scored. We won 2-1, because Darren Bent scored in the equaliser that day, ran down the other end, did an attaboy all celebration, and then we threw loads of stuff at him in the away end that day. Your first ticket to watch the match? 2006 it was, I think. I don't have it anyway. How do you feel about Kenny's situation? It's a strange one, but he's been blighted by big knee problems and that. He's not the same player he was. He's obviously 28 today as well, so if we were to get rid of him in the summer, it wouldn't be a big miss for me. On his day, he's a fantastic player, but yeah, Darren Bent, that day when he shushed our fan base and it really bit him in the arse, didn't it, when Christensen scored that rather fluky goal. I think Ross McCormack took a shot and then hit Lasse and it just rolled in. Thoughts on Millwall fans? Yeah, they're all right, aren't they? They have a reputation of a certain quantity, but as long as you don't really start a fight with them, they ain't a bad thing, I don't think. What's the first fixture you look for at the start of the season? Well, this season it was Chelsea already. My first taste of Stamford Bridge. I wanted to go there. I look a lot, as probably most fans do. You look to the bigger teams in your division, really. Who you got at home. Opening day for me is what I look to first, and then probably what's the big away day. Well, how did you become a Fulham fan? Well, my granddad's been a Fulham fan all his life. He lived over in Fulham and that, and it's the first team I ever saw, first team I ever watched, and just really fell in love with them ever since. And that, it's been the club's been in my family for a good few generations now, and I do like, you know, it's a club that, you know, you can't help but not like. If you beat Brighton, will you be more confident to stand up? Probably not. I don't think it'll change too much, because we're the sort of team who get a win, a big win, and then we don't follow it up, and it's a shame, because wins like Southampton, Huddersfield, you really thought we'd kick on, and we didn't do this year, and it's been a big shame. So I don't think it will change much for us at all, really, which is a problem. But look, we've just got to see what happens, really, haven't we? Oh. Are you part Italian? Yes, I am. I'm a quarter Italian. My granddad is full Italian. He lived over in Italy, moved over here in about the late 50s, I think. And his sister was married to a bus driver who was a Fulham fan. And that's how he got into supporting Fulham. And that's how, you know, that's how the Fulham story in my family began. And, you know, it's a good story, really, but not really when to choose from to kick on from. Not really when to choose from now. Do you think Fulham will win the league in your lifetime? Oh, God, no. I think as long as the football stays round, Fulham will never win the Premier League. I think if the ball changed shape, we might have a chance. But if the ball stays round, we'll never win the league. We're 7 points from Newcastle, 17th. Do you think we'll catch them? No, we won't catch them. 7 points is a lot now. Time's running out. We've had our opportunities to already close the gap. We haven't taken them, which is a shame. Does Ranieri have a say on transfers? I don't think he does. Tony Khan said that he's going to work closely with him, but he doesn't have a say on transfers, does he? As far as more, he doesn't, and it's a shame. I grew up on Stevenage Road, so I don't really... when you grow up on that Stevenage Road, yeah, it's true that you don't have much of a choice. Obviously, Fulham's a team, only team there, so... Iconic, but I'm happy with that. At least you sign players unlike us, yeah, but the same... My argument to that could be at least you win games, at least you're still in the Premier League unlike us as well. Just because you don't sign players doesn't mean it's always going to guarantee success. We signed over 13, 14 players this season. We've been absolute dog poo. Most people in London don't even support London teams anyway. It's true, yeah, I know. Most people in London support Liverpool, Man United. I remember when, where was it? I can't remember where it was now. Somewhere. I was at London Euston once, or Euston, where it's pronounced. So many Liverpool fans were going up that day. I think there was a Liverpool game. I can't remember where I was going now. What's Fulham's best season? I can't remember. There's been about 3, I think. 2000, 2001, 2007, 08. No, 08, 9, I think it was, the Europa League final. Would you blame Tony Khan for most of this season? I wouldn't blame him personally. I think I'd blame him partly, but I blame most of the players as well. He signs these players because he thinks they're going to be good fits for the club, but look, you know, the ones who do support London teams are tourists. Yeah, it's true, yeah. But going back to the whole Tony Khan thing, I don't blame him entirely for it, but you just got to see what happens. The most disappointed signing, probably Seri, I'd say, disappointed with. He came on, you know, when you're linked with Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, and teams like that, and you come to Fulham, you've really got to justify yourself and prove why them teams wanted you, and he hasn't done that. It's a shame. He started the season off quite well, but he just gone like that. As the season's gone on, he's just gone like that, and it's a shame. I live all the way in Worthing. No, that's dedication. I'm off now. See you later. That's dedication, living in Worthing, being a bright, you know, supporting the club. That's dedication, which is good. I think we'll answer a couple more questions and we'll call it quits there for today. And probably come back Thursday. We'll answer a couple more if any more come up. And we'll see what happens. We'll answer about one or a couple more and we'll see what happens. Most underrated goalkeeper, yeah, I do. Dubravka's been a decent goalkeeper. I think Neil Etheridge as well, I've been impressed by him. We actually released him about 5 or 6 years ago. I think he's done really well. Going down the leagues to Walsall, getting his move to Cardiff, and then working his way back up into the Premier League again after being rejected by us. I think he's up there as well, but Dubravka definitely would be around the top of the list. It's dedication going for the past 4 years. Lots of bad stuff's happened in the past 4 years. Would you get Rico in on a permanent restart? Yes, I'd try and go for that. Yeah, Seri's goal since the Premier League, you know, since Seri scored that goal against Burnley, he hasn't done much, as it was from the shame. What's Fulham's best season? I did read that out. I'd probably say last season or the Europa League season. I can't remember what year it was now off the top of my head, but either one of them 2 seasons. What's your opinion on Mitrovic being captain? I don't know. We do lack a leader, don't we? But I think for the time being, until a leader gets signed, then I'm not too sure really. I think he'll stay captain for the foreseeable future, which is a thing. 40 years, again, that's dedication. A lot of things happen in those 40 years. Nearly becoming extinct as a club, nearly merging with QPR. No, them 40 years have been a long 40 years, I'm pretty sure, but we wouldn't have it any other way. Mawson should be captain, I do agree, but he's out injured at the moment, isn't he? He's as the more natural leader. A few people are going to go now. 08 and 9 finished 7th, 09 10 was Europa League. Right, that's good. Thanks for clarifying that for me. knew around then one of them seasons was, which was great, but I think we are going to end it there, guys, before the minute. Thoughts on the FA allowing, silly in it, allowing Mike Ashley and Oyston to destroying clubs, and they make such a big deal about that Spygate thing. There's more problems lying beneath the surface at clubs like Blackpool and Leeds, Blackpool and Newcastle, which is a shame, and even Charlton as well. But we are getting the stream there now, guys. Thanks for everyone. About 74 minutes worth of questions and answering, which has been good. Do you think we'll go straight back up? Probably not, but I'll probably be back on Thursday with one of these. No problem. The live stream's all been good. Thanks for everyone for all your questions as well. I'm going to try and get some rest tonight. Yes, see what happens. Life being a Fulham fan will go on. And we'll all see you all soon. See you Thursday for one of these again. I'll probably put out something on my YouTube community thing to get a few questions in before that.